Hi, this is Dr. Cheryl Lees from the Combined Federal Campaign. I'm the Associate Director of the Sunshine Zone. Today, we're here with a guest speaker to speak about the cause of the week, which is Children and Family Services. It is so important for children and family services to exist with so many charities that we have. We have youth development, we have adoption, we have so many different charities that you can look at out of the 6,000 charities that belong to CFC. But Children and Family Services does play such a vital role in achieving effective outcomes from emotionally and physically strained family circumstances. Please understand that all of the charities who are involved also can fall under different causes. So when we show you how to search later on, you may actually find charities that come up under different causes. As always, for our cause of the week, we like to go over some impact statements. And I want to remind you that as we band together, we can certainly affect many more people than just by doing it individually. Only $5 can actually start a home library with several new books for a child in need. $13 can actually diaper a baby for 2 weeks. $20 can impact 3 children. A donation as easy as $25 can supply us a juice box, a book, and a cookie for a child in need. And a donation as small as $50 can actually transition a foster child with an entire set of new toys. As the holidays approach us and we are actually giving to our own families, we want to think about those children in need who actually might not even be getting one toy, let alone several toys from their families. So these impact statements are very um, informative when we think about how little it can take to actually help someone. And $5 in starting a home library for a child who's actually in the foster system can help them develop emotionally as well. Today, we're thankful to have the guest speaker. We want to introduce Abby, who is actually here with us to answer some questions about her home family life, and she's adopted several children. So welcome, Abby.
Hi, Dr. Lees. Thank you for having me today.
Thank you so much for joining us. We actually want to know a lot more about your family, actually, but we want to, make sure that we stay close to time. But we're wondering, did you adopt domestically or internationally?
So we did actually consider international adoption, but we decided to actually go with to adopt via foster care. There's thousands of children right here in the United States that need loving and supportive homes, infants all the way to teenagers. So we became licensed through our county, and we said we would foster until one child needed a lifelong home, and we could adopt them. And somehow one became five, and we are actually now in the process of getting licensed to foster again.
Excellent, excellent. And what compelled you to adopt?
So initially, we were drawn because of infertility. I'm not able to get pregnant or carry to term. But somewhere sort of along the way, we realized that adoption was a real and tangible way that we could help children in our community, and sometimes we could help their families as well. In some cases, these kids and their parents, they just need love and support. So we discovered that neglect and abuse are often cyclical. You can imagine it would be hard to know how to parent if your parents didn't set that good example for you. And so we realized that sometimes the parents of our children needed someone to parent them, really, to show them, just to sort of take the time and teach them that there are other ways, other than drugs and violence and this type of thing.
Absolutely. What's something that you learned along your journey?
I really learned how to put myself in other people's shoes. In the beginning, I was really mad. These kids would come to us, and they were suffering, and it was really hard for me. And I had to step back and think about all of the ways that their parents had suffered, because you can't fix the problem for the kids until you fix the problem in the adults, and you have to fix that issue. So you have to know how to think from their perspective so that you can get to the bottom, to the root of the problem. So for this reason, we've been supporting various local agencies that provide education and supplies to foster youth and their families. One agency that we've worked with in the past provided laptops to foster youth who are entering college. You don't think about this as an issue. Most people I know, I mean, their kids go to college. It's what we do. It's part of the rite of passage. But the rate of foster youth who enter college, it's so low that it's just not an option available to them under most circumstances. So anything that we can do to increase attendance and sort of give them that helping hand is huge.
Mm-hmm. Right, right. And it's a very good point too. I think that there are a lot of children who actually stay in the foster system there, until they actually age out. And the fact that anyone could help them is a great deal because they just don't have anyone to lean on. And it's hard to wrap your head around the fact that there's no one to call for help. And the people that work with them who knew them from growing up in the foster care system are the really only people that they can turn to for help. And that's not they're not able to give them the same support that an actual family would.
Yes, yes. And this is just thinking, as an adult myself, I'm in my late 30s. I still call my mom. I still ask for
Mhm.
help, and this is something that some of these kids just don't have that ability. And so I'm especially drawn towards helping the older kids, but there's kids of all ages that really just need support and love.
Yes, yes. And Abby, before you go, I actually want to know what advice would you give to families who are considering fostering or adopting?
So, the big thing is, a lot of people have told me that they could never foster because they're afraid they'll get too attached. And to that, I'll quote, his name is Jason Johnson. And I don't know who Jason Johnson is, but I just love this quote. He said, "Don't let the fear of loving a child who might leave deter you. Let the fear of a child not knowing love drive you." And that, when I heard that the first time, it gave me goosebumps, honestly, because it's just such an important thing. These kids need somebody who's going to give their whole heart, and risk that. They need that. But at the same time, I also recognize that, not everybody is compelled to foster and adopt, and that's okay. That's okay. But that doesn't mean that there aren't other ways that you can help. There's tons of charities that support um, foster and adoptive families and children, both locally, nationally, internationally. Um, and even if you can't help in that way, maybe you've got a friend or a neighbor who has recently adopted or is a foster parent. Make them a casserole, offer to babysit, mow the lawn. Little things make a big difference. Just those little bits, they add up and they are very, very helpful.
That's great advice. Thank you. And Abby, I wanted to thank you for sharing a photo of your family. Can you tell us a little bit more about this photo?
This is one of my favorite photos. This was taken in Alaska. And there are actually 8 kids in that picture. I don't know if you can see the baby is sitting on the lap of the big one in the middle. And that is my crew right there. And this was taken a couple of years ago, and one of their favorite spots. They used to love going to this lake, where they went fishing, and they would go camping and just play with the birds, feed the birds. And it's just one of my favorite pictures of all of them just sitting there being peaceful momentarily, um, and just loving the sort of the majesty that is Alaska.
Yes. So thank you so much for sharing. It's really sweet to see the whole, the family sitting there together, and they definitely look like they're enjoying themselves.
Absolutely. Yes. They were that day.
Thank you so much.
Of course. Thank you for letting me speak today. I appreciate it.
Absolutely. That was excellent, excellent advice. In order to give to CFC, please visit givecfc.org. When you log on to cfc.org, I want you to know that there are so many different ways to search for charities. You can actually enter the charity's name. You can look for them by their CFC number or a keyword, but you can also select specific categories or actually filter by cause. So please understand that there are people who can help if you want to look for different charities. And there's definitely different ways for you to search on your own, but there's a lot of easy ways to find one or more of the 6,000 charities that you would like to support from the CFC this year. Abby, I want to thank you again for your time. I think that we really want to emphasize really how important this cause of the week is, as are all the others. But I think that this cause is actually very important to me as well. And it's always nice to have advice from others who have gone through the adoption process. So thank you for your time.
Well, thank you for having me. I appreciate it. I always love opportunities to share about foster and adopting. You know, it is really one of the best things that we've ever done. You know, people will tell us that the children are lucky to have us. And honestly, I think it's the other way around. We are lucky to have them.
Absolutely. We're all very lucky for you as well. So thank you very much for your support.